Hey everyone, this is Adam, aka Dan Adam KOF. I'm recording this video for the R3 Discord. I might just upload it to all anyway, we'll see. This is going to be a quick overview of the $35 720p 60 camera available on AliExpress. I actually bought two of these, so I'm able to show you what they look like, which I'll do in just a bit. The very first thing I want to point out, the focus on here is manual. This is the focus with it twisted all the way, the lens twisted all the way to one side. It seems to be trying to focus somewhere behind me. I'm not sure exactly where, but I think my fridge and other stuff are just a little bit clearer, than you'd expect. So I'll also show you how nice you can get it for something really close up, which you can kind of already see. Okay, so I'm really far out of focus. But look at this. That's actually kind of cool. If you have reason to use your camera, something like a microscope, you can actually kind of get away with it. So for where I'm sitting, this is like you go all the way back to over here, and then give it about a half turn. Half turn was actually too much, I think. I had it before. I guess we can say the focus on here is kind of, is it when you would say this has shallow focus, I guess? Because if you're out of the zone by too much, it doesn't focus on you. So that's focus behind me. It was more like a quarter turn. Okay, I think that's roughly focused on me. Text on my shirt is pretty clear. I feel pretty good. Okay, so yeah, this is in 60 FPS mode. And waving my hand here, looks pretty clear. This is not the out-of-the-box settings. I've turned off some auto stuff, and I think I made it better. I'm gonna quickly name some things I thought were confusing about the driver. This is a UVC camera, and it just uses that same like video proc amp plus camera control thingy. So I have exposure at -6, low light compensation off, backlight comp at 0. You can choose 0, 1, or 2, and they do things. And the gain is at 48. This is without the gain. Yeah, so somewhere around here. Am I in focus? It's so hard to tell on here, but I'm just gonna wing it. So I noticed that playing with the backlight comp, low light compensation, and exposure, which are things you want to do to control like how much light's coming in before you have to add gain and brightness and stuff like that. They definitely do things. It's not obvious like when they come on and when they don't. And I don't know if this is documented somewhere or not. I don't know, I guess a little bit disappointing. There's no documentation that comes with this, and I haven't looked online, but I think given the nature of this thing, there's probably not going to be any. I'm also going to point out real quick how the image size off the camera works. So this was 720p right now. I'm going to switch it to 1080, and you're going to notice that now we see a lot more stuff in the room. And so it seems that this I guess the algorithm, so to speak, of how this works is it just crops to that area within the sensor to show you that much image. So yeah, it doesn't resize this down to 720 and then send it out to you. It's just chops off the sides and the top and the bottom and gives you the innermost 720p of pixels. Setting that back. So let's see. Okay, I messed with this in low light a little while ago. I'm not going to set this up again, but low light performance is nothing really to write home about. You can change, so you can mess with the gain and the backlight comp and the low brightness, and you can get something out of it, sure. But I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure I was super impressed with the image coming off of it. But I guess if you really got to use it in the dark, you can. This is definitely no miracle camera that makes like a dimly lit, lit up by monitor only room look really good. Absolutely not. I am not in focus, am I? That's gonna bother me. It already bothered me once, hence why I re-recorded this. I think that's better. So going from back there to over here is like the smallest turn of this thing, which I will get to in a bit about my assessment of how friendly this thing is to use. Somewhere roughly here-ish. I don't know, I guess I'm just not really going to be that in focus, and it's a shame. Somewhere back here? Not back there. Roughly here, I guess. And for the purpose I bought this camera for, that's not really going to matter. Really quickly, I bought this for my Beatmania 2DX arcade machine because the game a couple versions ago added a built-in face cam and controller cam into the game that you can display on screen. And my friend recommended these cameras to me because while they're not plug and play with the game, they can be made to work with it with software, and they work pretty well once they're set. I am just totally not in focus. Oh my gosh. We're just gonna go with it. I assure you I've gotten it before where you can see my stubble. I'm not so subtly stubbly right now. You'd be able to see it. Okay, so someone was curious about this as a camera to hold over a piece of paper, and I'll try and replicate this test, not take too long. First, I guess I'll show you about where I'm gonna have the camera, and sorry for all this stuff. It's COVID times and we aren't cleaning as much as we should. There's crap everywhere. But I'm gonna have it, I'm gonna try and focus it from somewhere up, oh wow. Somewhere up about here. I don't know, that's like 75 centimeters or so maybe. I'm not really that good at this. Okay. So I'm gonna hold it and I'm gonna try and focus it. So this is not in focus. Somewhere around here, you can kind of read the text. Like this is how far my hand has to go, which you can't really see. I'm gonna try and go up a little higher. It's too out of focus. Somewhere around here is okay. Now, if this was manual focus built into the software, that would be cool, but it's not. You're turning a lens, and especially with how, especially with the amount of play there is between like something about 25 feet behind me, the back of the kitchen, versus being 2 feet away from the camera and having only that little bit to turn, that's pretty annoying. And I would say, so I could also do this in 1080p, but I will say the results aren't that different. So I'm gonna get back to where I was. Am I finally in focus now? I'm just doing this for fun at this point. A lot of things to say. I don't think this camera's for everyone. It's not user-friendly. The image quality is not great. Granted, I haven't tweaked this as much as I could, but I did tweak this some, and this is pretty typical results. Would you want this as a face cam? I would say no. Your face cam is supposed to make you look good, and I really don't like the way this makes me look. Would you want this as a high motion cam? If 60 FPS is really important, and I can think of some things like playing music games, you're moving your hands a lot, and it's really cool to have a very fluid camera for that. If you're playing a dance game like DDR, etc., those really benefit from high motion. I think I've already gone past the threshold where I need to be focused. I just want to get me in focus once more. I swear I was. If those are important to you to get 60 FPS out of, and you haven't already tried the PSI camera, I just had one here for illustrative purposes. Now where'd it go? That's PSEYE, the PlayStation 3 camera. If you've already tried this and you thought you don't like it, then okay, maybe this might be worth a try. Would I use this like at an event, like maybe for a commentator cam or crowd cam? For a crowd cam, definitely not, due to the like, I guess, shallow focus or whatever, where you have to have it really dead on to focus something that's like this far behind you, and things in front and things behind won't be in focus. No, like definitely not good for that. For a commentator cam, I guess this could work. I guess one big detriment is the fisheye lens, which I hope I pointed out already. I don't remember if I did. But yeah, there's a fisheye lens distortion to this, and you can kind of see things kind of bowing as I turn this around. I'm gonna move this. I'm gonna try and like match the straight line at the bottom. See how it's bowing up instead of being like dead on or just like at an angle. And that's exaggerated in 1080p where it shows more of the corners. You can replace this lens. This is a type of lens, I don't really know what, but they sell different lenses of this. So you could make one that I guess has like easier focus or a flatter appearance and not a fisheye. I don't know a lot about that. It would also add to the cost. So yeah, who do I think it's good for? Streaming rhythm games or games where you have a lot of movement. Maybe for a VR streamer, this might be pretty good. You could set it up somewhere in the room and point it in your general vicinity to have like a nice like overview. Could you use this in front of a green screen for the nice like Beat Saber type streams? I guess you could. I feel like you'd want to be a bit closer for that though, and then I don't know. The problem with focusing is probably going to become too great. This would probably be better placed further away, so that it's focusing further away in the default like as turned as possible lens setting. I think that would look all right. Otherwise, the things that keep me from recommending it are basically the drivers are difficult to mess with and difficult to get good results out of, just due to how they fight each other and how the settings just don't seem to work like when you set them. Image quality is not very good. Motion quality is good. I think this is cool for being 60 FPS. And competition, like I said, the PSI camera, it's 480p 60. So if the extra resolution matters to you, which you're looking at the results of this camera, and if someone told me to guess the resolution, I don't know if I would have come up with 720p. Granted, I am a bit out of focus, even if I wasn't. Yeah, you should consider and you should try the PSI camera before you try this. It's extremely inexpensive. A friend of mine just got one on eBay for $5. They're very widespread. So, in conclusion, this ain't it. We've had some beautiful come-ups recently in the, I guess, capture and capture-centric and streaming-centric and streaming-adjacent like world of the miracle $15 HDMI capture card, GBS control being a $30 scaler you build yourself. This is not something we can add to that list of amazingly cheap things that everyone should consider. I don't think everyone should consider this. If you think you need this, evaluate whether you can live with the downsides I mentioned. If 35 is enough for you to just risk, then I guess it's okay. But I wouldn't outright recommend this to anyone. There's too many gotchas. All right, I think that's all I want to say. Thanks, everyone.